Number 7, Maul. It's really hard to take unless I have a deck that can get a lot of energy so that I can play a lot of Mauls. Or if I have strength scaling of some kind, then I would be very happy to take these cards because they are multi-strike and they scale each other. But usually it's just the fact that by this point in the run, when I'm offered the Maul card by tanks, I already have a pretty good damage plan most of the time. Like, how would I have made it to Act 3 if I already didn't have some kind of a decent damage plan? And so these Mauls are usually not like the answer I'm looking for in a relic at that point most of the time. Even if you take them without the synergy, like you don't have a lot of energy, you don't have a lot of draw, you don't have a lot of strength, and so you're hoping this can be like kind of your main damage source. I feel like they're a little too slow for most fights to actually be worth it. I don't want to say that this is a bad card. I'm probably most excited to see it on Ironclad, where I can cheat energy a lot with like powers like Stampede, and I have Bloodletting, and I have access to a lot of easy strength scaling and vulnerable. Majority of the other characters, I wouldn't be too keen to take this. It is nice to remove 6 cards because whenever you take a Maul, you know, you're getting 6 Mauls, you're transforming, you're removing 6 cards from your deck essentially. Number 6, Quadcast. And man, I don't know. I think Quadcast is probably the weakest of the upgraded starter cards that you can get amongst all the characters. I think all the other ones like Suppress, Break, Meteor Shower, and Protector are all better than Quadcast is. I'm only ever really excited and really thinking about taking a Quadcast if I have a lot of Dark Orb generation or a lot of Glass Orb generation, because that damage can go kind of crazy. But when it's just the lightnings, it's not my favorite. I usually don't want to play it. Doing this for block on Frost Orbs can be pretty good, but honestly, a majority of the time, I'm hoping that I could just keep my Frost Orbs there and just have them be passively blocking for me rather than evoking them, unless of course I'm generating so many Frost Orbs that they're being evoked and staying in my slots. That's the best case scenario, but it would be better if it was upgraded when I upgraded it to the Quadcast, like if I already had my dual cast upgraded somehow. But usually I target Zap as one of my first upgrades on Defect if I don't have a card that I picked up that's better than that. Number 5, this is gonna be Relax. Relax is just, it feels like a way worse Brightest Flame to me, because Brightest Flame is letting you take another turn on the current turn that you're taking. Like, you're not delaying anything. This is essentially saying sacrifice this turn for a better next turn, which usually is not something I don't want to sacrifice my current turn. I want to try and squeeze the most value I can out of every turn. So hopefully my deck isn't built in such a way that where I would want to ever take this. You want to end the fights quickly in a perfect world. You don't want them to drag on longer, because that means typically that the enemies are going to get harder. They're going to be scaling up more. The only time I ever really get excited to maybe potentially take this card is if I can somehow make this card free to play. Then it's a great card. It gives you a substantial amount of block, and it gives you a great next turn, and you still get the value of your turn with this alongside it. And you're not giving up that huge price of 3 energy to play it. But often, if I can't find a way to play it for free, I feel like there just isn't enough to justify wanting to take it for me in most cases. I feel like the block isn't enough for most fights. Like 15 block isn't enough to justify stalling. At least on A10, most enemies are hitting well above 15 on some turns, and so I would be more inclined to build a deck that doesn't force me to delay getting value for my turns. I would just rather have a deck that's getting solid value and has good options, or as many good options as I could possibly have every turn. Card that you take when your deck isn't doing so hot, like you're taking a lot of damage in your fights because you can't kill things fast enough and you can't block very well, and it just feels kind of like a desperate take to me. But that's my opinion. Let me know if I'm wrong. Number 4, Apparition. This is something you can get from Vaku. You get 3 of them, I believe, for 9 max HP. And by the time, like, this is kind of the same problem with Maul. I feel like by the time I get to Act 3, like the beginning of Act 3, I almost always don't need Apparitions. I've already got a solid block plan in place. And so I just feel like these are not necessary, especially if you can't like upgrade them all. I feel like these are much better upgraded because it loses the ethereal, and so you can play them on the turns when you need them. But without that, if you don't have like the toxic egg when you take this, these kind of just, I mean, you play them when you see them and they might benefit you 1 or 2 turns, but they're kind of just whatever. Just feel like it's kind of a waste of cards sometimes, and it clogs up my deck most of the time when I have taken them, because I would rather be getting my other cards down into play than seeing these without the upgrades. That is, with the upgrades, this becomes a much better take in my opinion. But yeah, Number 3 is going to be Neos Fury, and they just updated this card to make it to where you can choose what you bring back from your discard pile. But fundamentally, I just don't love this one just because I don't think it's, I mean, it's solid. It's okay damage early game. It does exhaust, so you're only going to be able to get that damage once. At the beginning of the game, there's not really many cards I want to bring back into my hand on many characters. Like, I'm not dying to get back a lot of cards unless I'm on the Defect or the Necrobinder. I definitely want to have cards be bringing back some cards like summoning or orb generating cards, but those two characters already have cards built into their decks or built into their card pool that accomplish those roles. Like Necrobinder has Grave Blast and the Defect has Hologram. Those are two common cards. They're not too hard to come across the majority of runs that can bring stuff back from the discard pile. Additionally, Necrobinder has Dredge, which brings stuff back from the discard pile, and you can take those later in the run when you have better cards to bring back. But if you're taking this floor 1, like, it's not getting as much value, and so obviously it gets a lot better the further in the run you make it, as opposed to early. I think the only thing I really love about this card is the art, because it reminds me of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Whistle, and once again, this is just another one of those cards that by the time I have the opportunity to take it at the beginning of the third act, I don't really feel like I need to take it. I feel like by that time in my run, I hopefully have pretty solid block and damage coming in. I believe the way it works is when you stun them, they don't do their intentions, and then the next turn they just do what they were gonna do when you stun them. So it delays maybe you getting a debuff for one turn, but it usually takes your whole turn to play just because it requires so much energy. I do think it's a lot better in co-op where you can hopefully, I mean, there's just a lot more variance in co-op, so you can negate bad draws for your teammates a little bit better, and it could be decent on the Ironclad where he's getting free attack energy through Stampede and stuff, and Unrelenting. But this card does exhaust, and I feel like Mangle almost kind of does Whistle's job, but a little bit better, just simply because it doesn't exhaust, whereas Whistle does. I'm not that excited about the damage because it's only one time, and I hopefully have a damage plan. This one might save you once or twice in a couple of fights, but I think it's particularly good in a deck that has a lot of retain. Like if you can get a lot of colorless cards that retain your hand, or you have the Pyramid, saving this in your pocket just as a contingency plan might be nice. But number 1 is going to be Wraith Form. Let me just go through the reasons why I don't think this is a great card. The Silent in this game currently is one of the best characters at blocking. They're probably one of the last characters I would want Intangible on. They have so much strength loss cards, so many strength loss cards. Malaise, Piercing Whale. They have a ton of weak built into their kit. They have footwork for scaling dexterity. One of the main strengths of the Silent is her block potential, and the downside of losing that dexterity when you play this card could be very disastrous in some boss fights. In general, I feel like the Silent has a lot slower damage compared to a lot of the characters in the game. Poison takes a while to ramp up and get to a point where it's, really doing a lot of chunky damage. It's not super easy to burst enemies down on the Silent, I guess is my point. And so her fights tend to lean on the longer side, which is why it's very important to be able to block and to weaken and to take strength from enemies in Silent fights, especially boss fights. And Wraith Form is something that you want to play on a character where you can hopefully take them out ASAP, and I just feel like the Silent doesn't operate that way a majority of the time. And so the only time I could ever, I was trying to run through scenarios in my head of when I'd want to take this card in a Silent run. The only thing I could think of was maybe if I have a Nightmare and I can Nightmare Wraith Form and play a bunch of them. Or maybe if you have well-laid plans, Wraith Form becomes a very good card with well-laid plans because you can actually save it for a turn when you have no block. But even then, or if I can find a way to upgrade it so that I get another turn of Intangible, even then it's not one that I would ever be building towards. And there's no possibility that you as the Silent could get this at the beginning of a run, like in Act 1. You have to get it from Darv at Act 2 or Act 3. And so you can't really build your deck around it because it's something you have to get later on once you've already kind of established what you're trying to do. I just never really consider, honestly, even this one, and I don't think it's that great in the game currently. But please tell me how wrong I am in the comments. I know there's going to be a lot of people upset about the Wraith Form take. Those are all my thoughts on the full art ancient cards in the game that I just don't love right now. I have a hard time taking. What did I get wrong? What do you think I got right? please let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoy the content like this, opinion sharing and debating in the comments, please subscribe. I like to hear your thoughts and share knowledge and experiences from the game so we can both get better at it. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to check out another video where I ranked the 8 rare cards in the game that I have a really hard time taking. Here's a cool t-shirt that me and my brother made. If you want to buy one, check out the link in the description. That's all I got for you. I hope to catch you in the next one. See ya. Peace.